All right, well, this is SANDCAST, beach volleyball without Bourne, but we are with Travis Mewhirter here in our tropical paradise of Bonaire with my amigo, Kyle Friend.
Yes, sir.
Dude, how great is this place?
We are spoiled here. Let's just say that. Long travel day, but I think in the end, totally worth it.
I would say so. I was like kind of dreading it, like when we were leaving Hawaii, because like for our listeners, so me and Kyle had a travel day that we left Hawaii at 12:45 p.m. on Monday.
That's correct.
Got into LAX at 9 o'clock p.m. Monday night, and then we hopped on a red eye to Panama City, not Panama City, Florida, which as I discovered midway through our flight.
Halfway through the flight.
But Panama City, like actual Panama. And then we got in there at, what time did we get to, like 9 a.m.?
No, I think it was a bit earlier. I think it was like 7.
Okay.
Maybe something like that.
So we got into Panama City at 7 a.m., hung out there for, like, that was a quick one.
That one was a quick 45-minute.
That was like 45-minute layover.
Yes.
Hopped on another plane to Curacao, which is an island just south of Aruba. It's like off the coast of Venezuela. And then we were in Curacao for a minute. Our flight to Bonaire, which is our final destination, got canceled.
We didn't know till late.
So we were there for an indeterminate amount of time. So then we went to Mambo No. 5 Beach.
Mambo Beach.
Hung out there for a while. Kyle gets a random WhatsApp saying that we were put on a flight at 5:30 to Bonaire. We got on this like little puddle jumper, like smallest plane I've ever seen, to Bonaire. We got into Bonaire at like 7:30 or 8 o'clock last night.
7 o'clock, something like that. Yeah,
and now we're here in our tropical paradise of Bonaire for the final event of the season.
Yes.
Not a bad one to end on.
No, this is a pretty good one to end on. Like I said, this resort, it's like a compound almost, and we're staying in this villa that has 3 bedrooms. We're going to be staying, I think, with another USA team here, Chris Austin, Chris Johnson, and then one more team they're putting in here. But everything is beautiful. I mean, all the furniture and the wood, and it's just, the views are spectacular.
Yeah, this place is sick. Is it like, it's kind of hard for me to get out of like vacation mode because we go from like Hawaii, one tropical paradise to another, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta play volleyball too. Because we both had like early exits in Hawaii, so it's been a while.
Yes. Yeah, we had a longer vacation time in Hawaii than I think we both wanted to. Both of us losing on the Thursday qualifier, and so it's. For me, I did my best to enjoy Hawaii. I think those first couple of days after was a struggle for me personally, just to get in that mindset of, okay, it's fine, it's you're here, enjoy Hawaii. It took a minute to get there, but I sure did enjoy Hawaii. And now I was a little dreading that travel day that we were just talking about, the 25 hours or however long that was to get here. But that's in the past now. That's in the past, and I feel better.
It's hard to feel bad out here.
It's hard.
It's like,
hard.
Had you ever heard of Bonaire before?
I had not heard of Bonaire before.
Yeah.
No, never.
I had only heard of it because like my parents honeymooned in Aruba, and my brother's about to honeymoon in Aruba. So then they were like, oh, the ABC Islands, which apparently is Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao.
Yep.
Which we've seen 2 of them now.
I know, right?
Might as well pop over to Aruba.
Hit up Aruba one of these days, in between matches. Quick little puddle jumper across.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I had not heard of Bonaire. Like I said, I had some friends that used to go to Aruba, and then some of my European friends, when I had posted on Instagram that I was going to Bonaire, they're like, oh, I've been there, and Curacao, oh, it's beautiful. Like, you should check out this place, check out this place. So it's definitely a spot to check out, I'd say.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, like, has it hit you yet that, like, this is, like, the last event of the season? For most people, like, they're already, like, done their Instagram, like, it's off-season, post, but, like, have you kind of grasped that this is like the end of the year? No,
I haven't yet.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is my last event this year. I know you're going to do 1 or 2 more, maybe FIVBs, go to Qatar. But for me, this is my last one. And no, it hasn't sunk in yet. Even after Hawaii, I knew I had one more tournament, and I don't know if it will really sink in until I leave here. Maybe like I'm going home to Florida for 10 days, see the family. I've been home all year, so I'm excited to do that. So hopefully shut it down, to flip the switch into like straight off season because I haven't really flipped that switch yet in my mind because I think I'm still a little hungry and angry after Hawaii. Yeah. I think that's the feeling right now, and knowing that we have to play volleyball here is exciting. But it's hard because of this vacation mindset that we're in, But no, I definitely still not off season yet for me. I know it's not for you. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to smashing a few more volleyballs.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yes.
And with you, you mentioned that like I'm still hungry. And I still definitely am too. And it's funny to look at it like if you were told the results that you would get and how many main draws you'd make at the beginning of the year, I think you probably would have been like, yeah, good year.
Yes.
And I think same thing for me. I didn't do like as well in like the major AVPs as like I would have wanted, but like when taking a holistic approach and like I probably played like 30 tournaments this year.
It's a lot.
It's like when looking at all of them and like not just doing the 7 AVPs that I played, like it was a super good year, but like you, I'm like, damn, like always want more.
Always want more. I think that's what keep us coming back though.
Yeah.
You know, I think this sport, it just constantly grind, constant hunger, constant. I said you start the year, or like for me 2 years ago, it's like, okay, just qualify for a couple tournaments, you know, we did that. And then this year was like, all right, well, now we're qualifying for tournaments, let's get that top 10, let's consistent be top 10. And then it's like, hey, you get that top 10, it's like, I wish we could have won one more, you know? And it's funny how it rises, your expectations rise along with your play. And I think that's a sign of growth. I think that's a sign of you're putting in the right work. Because I said, if you kept the same goals, like, I just want to qualify every time, and then, you know, you're not going to push yourself. You're going to get comfortable, I think, in those situations.
Exactly. So how would you kind of evaluate your year? Like, would you say good year, solid year, a little left on the table?
Yeah, I think a solid year for me. I think a little bit left on the table. I know I qualified in almost every tournament that I played in with Duncan, which was great. And as my first year as a defender,
not bad.
Like I said, we got a top 10 in Austin. We made it into Manhattan and Chicago and Seattle. And so we had some good finishes, definitely wanted some more. But for me, it was, okay, what am I going to learn every tournament, every match, playing defense, you know? And I think it slowly got better, just evaluating the game, and the chess game and the in-game decision-making slowly increased. You know, as a blocker, you have control in a sense of you can put this great block and you can take these angles, but as an attacker, it's like, oh, well, I see you there, I'm going to shoot it over you. And then it's defense, it's like, oh, that's my job, you know? So I feel like there's a little bit more weight carried as a defender. And I think for me, at the beginning of the year, from where I am now to the beginning of the year, my knowledge as a defender has increased dramatically.
Yeah.
Just the feeling of what it looks like on a cut shot, or the positioning. And so for me, evaluating my year, yes, I want more. I wanted to qualify in Hawaii. I wanted to qualify in Hermosa. But I know moments of greatness in my mind of defense for me, which is exciting, knowing that I think I'm taking the right steps. I'm in the right position for me personally as a defender.
Yeah.
And so I think for a first year defender, I'm very happy.
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
What made you want to make that switch? Because like I feel like whenever somebody asks me of like, oh, are you going to play defense? Because like on the smaller side as a blocker, but I'm like, even as a small blocker, I like get picked up by guys that I really shouldn't be, because like supply and demand.
Supply and demand.
So why would you like reverse that for yourself to go play defense?
No, it's funny. That's a good question. I think when I first started to play beach, my mindset was I'm going to be a defender.
Yeah.
You know, I was an outside hitter in college. I played some libero professionally in some tournaments. You know, I was really good passing the ball. That's what I did well. And at 6'4", I'm not the biggest blocker, you know, and I'm like in that in-between stage. But I was planning on playing defense. And then when me and Miles Mogotatia got together, it was like, well, we have something good going. We can run some fast offense. We're good ball control. Like, I'll just block. You know, we'll just do it. And we found some success for 2 years. And like you said, I think supply and demand. Yep. So I was like, well, I can fill this role as a blocker until we get to these 7th place matches, 9th place matches where these guys are 6'7", 6'8", and I'm not quite as effective anymore. So I think mindset going into beach was I want to be a defender, but I think the learning curve and the supply and demand put me as a blocker. And I think it was only a matter of time until I could find a blocker for myself.
Right.
I think it was important for me to just get out in the sand and get reps.
Right.
Because no one knew who I was probably on the beach, you know?
Yeah.
So you just go out there and you're like, I'm a defender and I need a great blocker. It's like, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So starting out as a blocker, I was just happy to get on the sand, and, you know, we were effective. And so I knew at some point there would be a switch. You know, and when me and Miles split after 2 years, it was like, hey, let's get some blockers, you know, let's help each other out because we're both defenders.
Yeah.
So, and for me, I'm a defender, like without a doubt. Like that's where I belong in my mind.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah. And you've had like, I feel like a lot of people who make that switch or try to, it takes a little bit longer for them to get it. But I guess your background is like an outside, you have to do everything. Libero, you can dig hard drivens as well as anybody. I feel like that probably made it easier.
It definitely did.
Did blocking help you as a defender too? Like knowing what you're trying to take away as a blocker? So like where you should be as a defender?
I think 100%.
Yeah.
I think my blocking now, when I switch block every once in a while for practice, is so much better because of the defense that I've been playing this last year. And I think that's helped in reverse too. Like I said, the blocking those first 2 years definitely helped me line up defensively and have a better idea of what they're doing, because when you're blocking, you have that more first closer distance to the net, that better hand-eye coordination of seeing what they're doing in certain positions. And then so when you get to defense, it's like, okay, like this blocker is going to do this, and I know that because I used to do that. And so then I'm going to slide over here where this attacker likes to go. So I think it for sure helps. And like I said, anytime if we're doing practice, like switch blocking is still fun for me because it just makes you work on something a little bit different, and you see the game a little bit different. Like you said, I think now that I've been playing defense, blocking is easier. Blocking is easier. So, I mean, what about you? You've done some back row a little bit here and there.
I do. Every now and then we'll split block. I think every time that you end up at the net when we're playing together, you get a block though. So I don't have to do anything.
This is true.
I play the best defense ever. We score every time. But whenever I get stuck back there, I tell this to Delaney all the time. Like, I don't know where to stand or like what to do with my hands. I don't know if like to have them up like I'm about to catch a basketball, or like to have them down to pass the ball. And like I'm sitting there as like thinking about it, like as they're swinging, and I'm like, oh god, where? And then like the shot's down. I'm like, I should probably just go get the ball. I'm better at the net.
Yes. No, I think for me, something that's helped me is the breathing and staying
I like that.
Staying calm in that moment, or taking a breath, because you get so worked up. And I watch film on me, and I still am jumpy at times, and when I used to play defense indoor, I'd always do a pre-hop, and watching the International League in the Tour, there's a variation of a pre-hop, a read defense, or a lateral hop, or whether it's a shuffle and then a misdirection, so there's different tactics. But I feel when I catch myself a little anxiety, a little anxious, taking that breath before the swing, slowing things down, and then sitting in there, and like when things are awry, like if you're just calm and balanced, you're surprised how much more balls you can touch.
I like that a lot. So I think Taylor does a little pre-hop.
I think April sometimes.
Okay.
I think all the time.
Have you like settled into one thing that you like, or is it kind of feel where you're like, okay, now I'm feeling the pre-hop, now I'm feeling the shuffle, now I'm just gonna like hang out and like.
Yeah, I think it depends on who I'm playing.
Okay.
Because I know, some defenders, if we're serving a team and they have a smaller guy and they're going to shoot a lot, I tend to maybe read more. And sit in a more neutral position, waiting for more shots. Or if there's a banger out there, maybe sit somewhere they don't see me, and then side hop into that angle, be like, oh, there's an angle, and then really no, there's not an angle there. But I think when the hitters are hitting more, I tend to pre-hop a bit.
Okay.
Just to get in there and get ready. Whether that's the most effective way or not, that's to be determined. That's my way. It's my way, and every once in a while it works. Yes, but sometimes it's feel, and like I said, I think after watching and studying a lot of the international players and seeing what they're doing, it's a lot of movement right now. It's a lot of movement at the highest level, and I'm not saying that translates into AVP and every other venue and level of competition, but at the highest level, guys are ripping balls more. I think, and so they're taking that step early to get into a different spot and get set, because if you just sit there and you're in the wrong spot, then they're just going to tear you up.
Right.
So,
is there a guy you like watching film on, like when anybody else? Because I think from watching, I watch like a ton of YouTube and everything. I think that you play a lot like Clemens Vickler. And you're built the same too. You have that kind of like wiry, tall frame, and you guys just rip.
He's a guy that I like to watch, without a doubt. Especially this last year, his rise and his success.
Yeah, they were awesome.
They were so fun to watch. But I love watching him play. I like watching Sorum Christian play. I just think like in my mind, that's like baseline the best, like this is what it should look like, at the highest level. But Wickler is so dynamic, and some of the things I've noticed lately on his swinging is, he step closes so well and he contacts so high, and at times I catch myself, a lot of angle, some cutback, whereas I've seen him go and approach, contact almost behind his head and hit deep middle. But purposely not keeping it here, but waiting, keeping it here, and then finding that deep middle, because blockers are diving this way, That's something I'm trying to work on more, is like, if you can hit the middle high like he does, like, and it lands in the court, like, you're going to score a ton of points. You're going to score a ton of points. But yeah, I really do enjoy watching him
especially
play.
like that deep middle, especially like going against goons like Stoyanovsky, huge. Like that's like the only available thing.
Sometimes,
because when you try to hit those sharp angles, like you get really low, and like when you have a monster like Stoyanovsky, he's just like, oh, thank you.
Right. You know, it's hard to block balls, and if you hit them high and hard off some hands, like they're not going to always go in the court, you know, and you're going to find some success. I think. You know, you're going to find a ton of success.
And that's what Brian Cook did to me about 42 times.
He hits it high. He hits it hard, without a doubt.
It's absurd. He came up to me after we played, and he was like, "That's the first twos match I've played," because he plays a lot of like those 16 street like drinking fours tournaments in Hermosa. And he's like, "That's the first twos match I've played since Chicago of 2017."
He said the same thing to me after.
Like what?
I know. No big deal. Just go out there and just win.
Like how do you like trans set when you haven't done that in 2 years?
No problem. It's in his blood.
It helps that he had Rosie.
Yeah. Also, having Rosie helps, and Rosie setting him.
Yeah.
It's just nuggets.
Like, damn. Like another. Here
you're
comes
like,
another 6'7"
twisting
blocker.
that knife.
Damn it, Brian.
Twist it, Brian. Twist it in there, bastard.
Is there like an element of defense that was either particularly easy or challenging for you to pick up, or both? Like I don't know if maybe digging hard drivens came a little bit easier because you had so much experience with it.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think digging hard drivens is more comfortable for me because indoor for 10 plus years, like it's one speed.
Yeah.
It's 100% every single swing, and so you're like ready for the hard driven stuff. I think the hardest part for me was getting over the mindset of it's okay to leave that shot, or hey, you're not going to touch that shot and it's okay.
Yeah.
Because I think early on for me, I'd get so caught up staying more neutral, middle of the court, in hopes of putting myself in position to get every shot.
Right.
And then I wouldn't get any shots.
Yeah.
And that's you don't want to do that. So I think I've gotten better at, hey, like I'm just going to give up that cut. You know, or I'm going to hedge that cut and just be like, okay, I'm going to leave that. If he hits one of those, one out of every four, okay, good shot for him. That's
Congrats.
okay. I'm going to give him that shot. So I think that's been the hardest challenge for me switching to defense is it's the mindset of, hey, it's okay to not touch every ball.
You don't need to get everything.
You don't need to get every ball. I'm like, I can go run and try to touch that ball, but it's okay. I'm not going to get it because I'm going to get these two. If he cuts it here, or if he swings angle, I'm going to get those for sure. You know, so that's that chess game I think we were talking about for sure early on, and then I think high lines I think I was good at. I think cut shots and creating angles to pick up cut shots was hard for me early.
Okay.
I caught myself doing this roundabout way to get the cut, in hopes of getting it low on my platform and really cut off that angle, stop that time it takes for you to get that ball. And if you have to get it here, you have to dig it here, whatever it is, that's okay. You cutting that off.
Right.
So I think that those two things, like I said, adjusting to giving up a shot, trusting that it's okay, and then the cut shot I think was the hardest part for me. Yeah. Definitely.
Did you have like anyone coaching? I know you did a little bit of stuff with USA.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were like picking Rich Lamborn's brain, or like in practices you're like, Taylor, like I'm going to use your 10 words of the day. You're telling me about how to play defense, or
no? Like I said, I was fortunate enough to spend like 5 months with the girls and the guys, with Tyler Hildebrand and Rich and Patty Dodd, who were running our practices twice a week. I would practice with the guys and the girls, do drills, and if someone was injured, I'd get to play, whether it was with April or with Emily Day, if Betsy was out, or with Theo, with Reed, whoever was out, or Casey, I would be able to hop into practice. So having Rich there, having Tyler just in my ear constantly, he'd be like, all right, walk with me. We'd walk around, like, if we got done doing drills, like, all right, let's walk. What'd you see? What do you see? And I'm like, all right, I see this. I'm like, what do you see? He's like, I see everything. I'm like, well, that doesn't help me, Ty. That doesn't help me.
Thanks, Coach.
But I think for me, that was the huge learning curve, kind of, what's the word? Like internship. Pretty much for 5 months, like
that
accelerated internship that I got to do and take part of, and just listening to the coach's coach and the tactics that they're working on. Because for me, played volleyball my whole life, but still the deeper understanding of beach volleyball and the strategy is still foreign to me.
Yeah.
And so hearing the strategy and hearing the conversation, the normal daily conversation of what's important, what it should look like, the footwork and stuff like that helped me tremendously. And picking Rich Lamborn's mind all the time, picking Ty's mind, asking Stafford questions, asking Billy questions, about blocking or defense or whatever it was, and just hearing the questions that they had back. And Reed was also really awesome. I love hearing Reed talk and what he's got to say. And anytime I spoke with Reed, I got nuggets of information. Yeah. The other day he was talking about some serving stuff, and it was something I had never done in my whole life. And I'm like, man, I'm 30 years old, and I am getting a piece of knowledge that I have not used in my whole life. Yeah.
And the awesome thing about talking to Reed is that he's not only going to give you information, but he'll give you the numbers to back it up. He'll be like, I stand here because 67% of the time I will touch a ball in this spot, but 40% of the time I'll touch it over here. And he has all the data and everything. He's super logical, which is different. When I talk to Try about blocking, he's just you just feel it, bro. I'm like, Try, I don't know how to feel. My hands are going here. He's just he's talking about it's surfing. You just gotta feel the wave.
You just gotta feel it. Must be nice, Try. Must be nice.
I don't have the baby court feel that he does. So it's nice talking to a guy. And Stafford too is really logical about I put my hands here for that. And
yes.
It's awesome resource. That's what I love about the beach community in general, because everybody is willing to help everybody, especially kind of the younger guys who are coming up. Because Stafford will always shoot me texts about when we're on NORCECAs and stuff, and be dude, good luck and all this. And Rosie came up to me after a match in Hawaii and was giving me advice. He's you should have served me earlier because Brian's ridiculous. And I love having the resources.
Yeah, I think we're fortunate to, like I said, the guys we play against and compete against are also people we enjoy spending time with and are there to help grow the game and grow the sport and are okay with sharing knowledge with you because it's out there, it's available, but they know it's putting into a good place. I think challenging, and then the devil's advocate point of that is when we're doing these USA trainings with the top teams, like I said, it was all the Olympic qualification teams for the men and women, and I know some of the teams and players didn't always love competing every single day against these teams.
You have to beat.
And granted, the hard part is, okay, we're USA as a whole, we're USA as a team, but yet again, throughout this year, I have to compete against that person. And so the more reps I play against this person, the more reps they see me struggle with or have success with, the greater their knowledge of my game becomes. Or maybe it's someone who's had years of experience, say April, who's got the bigger tool belt than some of these younger girls, maybe Sarah Sponsel. And so, she's got all these tips and tricks that she has and doesn't maybe want to give away all of her secrets. Right. So the less reps she plays against those girls, the better off she is, you know, because I have to go to the Olympics, and I'm the one who needs to make it to the Olympics, and we have to compete against each other. And so I think that was the hard part for some people in that program. And I think when Reed came in, he had a different mindset because he had team mindset, team growth. USA for different Olympics, throughout the year, team mindset. And so he was always how can we help each other be the best we can be? And he's if I can't go to the Olympics, I want our next best team to be so good that they take our spot because they're so dang good, and they get a medal in the Olympics, And I think that is hard to grasp for some of the top teams.
That's what, when we had Reed on the podcast, he was talking about that, because he was when I first started going out there, I was well, how can we kind of grow as a team? And he's still super frustrated by it because it's so foreign to him, having played 4 quads indoor where you're it is a team thing. But even he was just once I started touring, I got it. I understood that you just can't you can't help each other all that much.
No,
he's you're trying to take that guy's spot.
You go fly to Poland, you play one country quota match against your buddy, and then you go home if you lose.
It's damn it, why did I tell him that?
Right? Exactly. So I think that's the fine line. But again, I think it's the balance, and I love Reed's mindset, and is hey, USA as a whole needs to be great. Yeah. So whatever that takes, and however much I can help that, if it doesn't actually put me in that Olympic position, I still want USA to be the best. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think it's a super cool mindset to have.
It's a great mindset. Yeah. It's a great mindset to have.
And when you started playing defense and like you're working with the USA program, but you mentioned that like you can't just be like, hey, I'm a defender now, top tier blockers, come get me. But like you did get a really good blocker in Duncan.
I did.
How did that partnership come about for him? Because he wasn't living in California at the time.
Yes.
And I don't recall you guys playing against each other really.
No.
So like, how did that come about?
We never did. And the funny thing is, Duncan and I went to the same school, Long Beach State, but we didn't overlap at all.
Yeah.
So I've played alumni matches with Duncan, and I've always known who Duncan was. But when I was looking for a partner this half season, when I split with Miles, I was like, all right, we both need blockers, and we should go find a blocker. I was thinking about who was around, in California who I could play with, and Duncan didn't even cross my mind because I just assumed, he was either like in Utah, living and maybe playing a few tournaments because he only did a couple the previous year. He didn't do all of them, and so it wasn't even an idea, thought in my mind until one of my buddies was talking to a friend in Hermosa at the bar, and he was like, yeah, I'm looking for a partner, Kyle trying to find a partner. And then the guy he was talking to was like, I'm trying to find a partner for Duncan, and he was like, what, let's go. And then my buddy texted me and he's like, you need to call Duncan right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool, I'll give Duncan a call. And then I didn't know he was moving back, and that was the thing. So he's moving back to California, and then I was like, hey, let's go out and hit some practices. Let's try it out. And like, it was nice because Duncan's a big physical guy.
Yeah.
6'7", he sides out better than most people, without a doubt. And so it was nice to have that. That's what I wanted. I wanted someone who was big, would be up the net, who can put up a huge block and help my learning curve, for sure. And Duncan had points, and he had years of experience.
Yeah.
And like I said, Long Beach State culture, mindset, we spoke very similar languages, and so I think that helped smooth out the transition for us to compete with each other.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate.
And when did Duncan actually move to California? Because I know, like, I played against you in a couple AVP Next in the beginning of the year.
Right.
But I didn't know, like, when he was actually here and you could, like, play consistently.
Yeah, it wasn't right away because he was in the middle of moving back and forth because he was looking to buy an apartment in Culver City because he got a job in Culver City and he still had his place in Utah, and so he was kind of back and forth a little bit, same with his wife. And so it took a minute for him to settle down in California. And like I said, it was before AVP season started because I'd done a couple AVP qualifiers or AVP Next with some different partners. I played with Brandon Clemens, and and so it wasn't right away that he was here. And then when he got here, we did a couple AVP Next just to get some touches. He did well, and it was like, all right, let's do this. And in my mind, like when I got to play with him, was like, hey, like I want to commit a couple tournaments at least, if not the whole season. Like I know your level, and I'm great with that. Like let's try to just grind this year out together and see where it goes. I hate to just sign up for a tournament with a guy and be like, oh, we didn't have the best finish. Next,
let's move on.
Let's move on. I just think that's not healthy, nor is that going to continue to help you find success.
Right.
So I knew I wanted to stick with him. Whether we did great or we did poorly, I felt together at some point we would do really well. Yeah. So. Did
you feel pressure coming in as like a defender playing with like a guy like he got picked up by Hayden in Chicago the last tournament of 2018? Were you like, shoot, well if I like screw up in Huntington, like he might just like drop me?
A little bit. Yeah, there was a little bit of pressure. I think it was a combination of this guy had some good partners last year and had done pretty well. So he picked up by Johnny Hayden. Like okay, that's pretty good. And then for me also as a first year defender, I was like, all right, like I need to go out there and compete and perform at a pretty high level to even want this guy to even consider playing with me. Yeah. Like why would this guy just grab me as this first year defender? Right. So there was definitely a little bit of that, but I think I had a good grasp on the volleyball game as a whole. So I think all my skill wise kind of helped smooth out any deficiencies with the defensive strategy to begin with. Yeah. I think just being able, I've touched the ball for so long, that passing setting and hitting comes pretty smoothly for me. Now it was just fine tuning the mechanics and the strategy behind it. Yeah. Yeah.
How much do you think hinged on making that first main draw in Huntington? Because you came out of the qualifier and you made it like gnarly match with Hagen. Yes. And it's weird, like you see, because like in retrospect, I feel like a lot changed from that tournament because you look at like Hagen then after that like didn't make a main draw and like had like a pretty tough year after having like what I thought was a great year for his like sort of rookie season. And then you and Duncan turn around, you make that one, then you're automatic into Austin. I stole you away from New York. We go get a second in La Paz.
Which is
but
great.
I feel like maybe I'd be making like too much of it, but like I feel like a lot hinged on like you guys win it. It's like 16-14
It was
third
16,
set.
it
You
was,
made like the gnarliest play to win it.
That was a crazy rundown off of Duncan's dome that I somehow touched, and Steve or Hagen, I think, bumps that overpass, and we got the point. And like 1 or 2 points there, like you said, could have changed the trajectory of the whole season for Duncan and I. He could have been like, oh my gosh, like I've qualified all the time, and this is our first one. We didn't even get in. Like I don't think I'm going to play with you. And yes, like you said, that totally could have changed the whole season. And I think that started us out on a really good note, you know, qualifying, which was great, getting into Huntington, and then being auto. It was my first automatically in Austin in a 12
small draw.
In a small draw, like. Blew my mind. Like that was what I've been dreaming for the last 2 years. Was like being an automatic in player like that. Even though it's such a little victory, like huge for me. And I think also for Duncan, I think it was really nice for that as well. And I think totally I agree with that. Huntington could have changed our trajectory, our course, completely 2 different directions. And I think we had played a lot of local tournaments before that, I think, which helped us get ready for Huntington. You know, and so I think that put us in a good state of mind going into that tournament, confident, I suppose, and getting the reps that we needed. But definitely, you know, if we don't qualify Huntington, you know, we're not in Austin automatically. Who knows if we make it through the Austin qualifier, which it was tough as well. And you were out there trying to qualify Austin, and it was a tough one. So yeah, I mean, that was huge for us, and I forget that actually how important that was. Without a doubt, because who knows what this end of the season would have looked like.
And then you went out, you won your first main draw match, and then what I think even bigger than winning that first main draw match, which I think was against Raffi and Topple.
That's right.
And sorry, I have BVB just
unbelievable.
Like it puts itself in there. And then you took Jake and Tay to 3.
Yes.
And nearly took them down in 2.
Yeah.
From what I remember, like 22-20.
Yes.
And it's like, how big is it just to even push a top team like that to 3 in your first tournament, major tournament as a defender, being like, like I can compete with like literally the best in the world. Like they just took 4th at the World Tour Finals.
Yes. Yeah, no. I just got the goosebumps thinking about that match because we played really good volleyball that match, and I knew it was a different feeling going into that match than I had going into matches against top teams the previous years. Whether that was 5 months training with those guys and seeing those guys play gave me a little bit of confidence. Like, okay, like I've beat these guys in drills before with USA. Like I know these guys. Like this is just another match, you know. And I think that just came with experience, and that helped me tremendously. But yeah, I think that match, even though we lost, we almost beat them in 2, and we played really well. And I was like, okay, there's no more restrictions on our ceiling in my mind. When I was a blocker, in my mind, I had a bit of a ceiling or limits, I suppose, due to my height and physical ability. But being a defender and playing with a 6'7" Duncan, there was no ceiling, there was no limits. It was just either you're good enough or you're not. You know, because of our physical ability, we could compete against the best, and that match definitely proved it. And I know we made them work for it. Like, without a doubt, we made them work for it because we almost won in 2, which was crazy.
Which would have been awesome.
Which is crazy. It would have been awesome. But yes, that gave me so much confidence, that match, going into the rest of the season. Like, all right, like I can dig Jake and Taylor. Like I can play defense against these guys. We can beat anyone. That match was huge. For a match that we lost, that was maybe one of the more important matches we've had all year.
Because I feel like when you get a match like that, it like humanizes them. Because like you know, before, you know, I think the first time I'd ever played Jake in a real match was when we played him in the NORCECA. And like we came out and we walked over him in the first set. It was awesome. I was like, holy cow! Like, this guy's been to a couple of Olympics, like one of the best players of all time. And like we just smacked him in the first set. It like makes it breaks down the wall of like these guys like aren't volleyball gods. They're just guys that we can beat.
Yes.
And I feel like that changes. Like once you get that mental click, it changes everything.
Yes, that I agree 100%. That mental, that barrier or whatever you want to call that. Was there for me the first 2 years against some of the top teams. You know, I was just like, okay, these guys are another level than us, you know. And then when we got to that match, it was the first time going into a match that I was like, all right, it's just Jake and Tay. You know, like I know these guys, and it's totally fine. And that just put my confidence to another level, you know, without a doubt.
Is there like a particular moment or tournament or memory from the season that you're kind of like clinging on to as like a highlight or anything, like a big learning moment?
That's a good question. Big learning moment from this season. Let's think.
didn't know if there were like any kind of epiphanies, because like, I mean, I think for me one of the bigger ones was when we took Jake and Tay to 3 in that NORCECA, because like, and before that, like, we beat Mike Bogue and Matt Motter, who had just made main draw, and we won like 21-10 and 13.
Yes.
And then we took Jake and Tay to 3, and I was like, we could take like a 5th, and it like wouldn't really, like, we're capable of that,
right?
For sure.
Yeah, that was a big moment. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have an exact moment of clarity, I suppose, for a tournament. I'm trying to think of when we had these matches. I mean, La Paz actually really helped me mentally.
That was fun.
La Paz was very fun, and I knew, like I said, we got that second, and I knew we could compete against the best. And then going into the rest of the season as a defender, it just gave me more confidence. Like, all right, like, I can side out at the highest level, and I'm gonna touch some balls on defense, and that's all you need to do. Really, is like turn a couple points. If you can be consistent siding out, and then touch a couple of defensive balls, turn a couple of those, and you're going to be really good.
Yeah.
You're going to be really good.
Yeah.
So I don't know specifically a moment. Maybe it was that Taylor and Jake match in Huntington, and then because it was so early, I think I forgot about it, to be honest. But thinking about it now, I think that set a tone of not a standard for me, but a no handicap anymore for the rest of the season. No limitation, no ceiling, like I was saying before. Like, there's no excuse. You either go on the court and you play and compete, and if you get beat, you get beat. There's no like, well, he's bigger and stronger than me. There's none of that. There was none of that, because I had that feeling every once in a while when we played. I remember me and Miles played against Theo and John on center court in Hermosa, and like, damn, they wiped us up.
Yeah.
They wiped us up without a doubt. And I was like, oh my gosh, like Theo's just all over me and like housing me left and right. And I felt like I was at a disadvantage. I never felt that never felt that at any point this year.
Yeah.
Being at a disadvantage before stepping on the court. And I think that is what was awesome about this season. Was, okay, I'm a defender, and I'm going to go out there and I can compete and dig the best.
Yeah.
No problem.
I think it's one of the funnest parts for me is to like watch, like, I don't want to call it like our generation, but like kind of our crew that's sort of like, we started out at sort of the same level.
Yes.
Kind of climbing up into the main draw, and then it's fun to like, I'm like always rooting for like our crew of like practice guys and like our Huntington and CDM crew. It's fun to see, because then like, we had good finishes in tournaments, but we're also, I think even more important is like we're getting into practice groups with the Staffords and Billies, and like last year, Mayers and like Jake and Tay. It's just fun to see that, like, hey, we're all there.
Yeah, and agreed. Like, the practice level and the players that I'm getting more reps with now has changed over the last 2-3 years. And just when you play more and people get to see you more, their respect for you increases, and their more willingness to be like, hey, like, want to come practice? And then you just slowly get better, and it's just putting in the work, I think, for both of us. And like I said, I love seeing the guys that we have, our CDM crew, and those guys making it in, and we're all grinding in the same. And like I said, we're on the border, of, like I said, I was in a couple autos this year. You got a couple auto this year as well, which is like so awesome.
Love those Thursdays where I'm just like, let's qualifier down the road.
I'm gonna watch some of my friends play the qualifier here.
I don't
have to do that, and that's great. And like maybe that was like huge epiphany. Is like auto and awesome. Like, holy smokes! Like,
it's different.
I'm doing it. I'm doing what I want to do, and like these are the rewards. These are the little goals on that path, on that journey, and we're getting them.
Yeah, it was really funny to see. So Delaney and Katie were automatically into most of the tournaments this year, and then for Hawaii, they were back in the qualifier, and Katie was like, "Yeah, I like kind of missed the rush." I was like, I don't miss anything about it.
You can have that rush, Katie. Like, the stress and the rush that comes with the qualifiers, it's tough. It's tough. When you go out there knowing that if you lose one match, you're done. And that happened to me twice this year. Happened to me twice. First match, lost. And that's like...
First match in... Oh, yeah, I guess
Hermosa.
The only two that you didn't... Which, Hermosa, like, was a like, I feel like no one knew, like, how bad of a draw that was to get. Because, like, Shane's really good. And then, God, what's that kid? Will Rotman?
Yes, that's
who's,
correct.
like, the big dog in Santa Barbara.
Yep. No idea who he was.
No one knows who he is, and he's out there just like bouncing balls,
hitting some balls over Duncan,
serves,
and I was like, "Who is this guy? Who is this guy?" But yeah, like I said, we 2 early exits for us in those qualifiers this year, and that's just the sport, you know,
Yeah.
and it's stressful, it's tough, and if you don't go out and give everything you got and compete at the highest level, then someone's going to go out there and take it from you.
Yeah.
And we had that happen. We had that happen twice.
Yeah.
So, no, you can keep the qualifiers. Like, get me out of those things. Get me out of those things. The feeling of qualifying is like unlike anything, without a doubt.
Unmatched.
So you know that feeling, and it is such a prideful exuberance, like, you know, you gave it everything and you grinded all day, you know, you're exhausted, but you get that hotel and you get to wake up and play more volleyball.
Woo, that's and it's double a limb, which is fantastic.
Yes, you know, like single limb, like no one wants that. Like, get that out of here. It's so hard. It's so hard.
And with the off season coming up, what do your off seasons look like? I feel like I haven't figured it out yet what to do, and like this is partially why like I'm extending the season, because I'm like I don't think I'm done competing yet. So like you said, I'm doing the 1 star in Tel Aviv, and then popping over to Doha for 2 1 stars, and then after that like I'll probably be done for a little bit. But I'm always curious what other people do in the off season.
I think that's been a learning curve for me as well as we continue to go through these. This is my 3rd season doing AVP, and every season I've learned a little bit more and got a little bit more experience. And I know early on when I first was playing with Miles, I think I was late. You know, I was 30, I was 28 when I first started doing AVPs, and in my mind I was late. You know, we had some of these kids out here at 22, just graduating college and like going right into AVP, making main draws, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm almost 30, and I'm like behind, you know. And so, and me and Miles had done, you know, well. We qualified for half the tournaments we played in, and so when we got done with that season, I remember we took like a week or 2 off, and I was like, all right,
time to go.
I'm ready to go again. You know, I was hungry, there was fire, and at the time it was like, great, this is the right thing to do. But I remember going into that season, when season was coming around, I was like, whoa, like I'm a little burnt already. Going into that season, I was a little bit like, oh God, it's been really long, and we're just starting season. And it, not that I was physically stressed or in pain, it was the mental part for me. And I think that's part of the learning curve, I think, is knowing that, hey, like your mind and your muscle memory, your mind needs a little bit of that rest, I think, just so it can reset. And so last season, I definitely took like 2 months off of volleyball. And sure, I went out and played every once in a while, but it wasn't anything serious or super competitive. And I think that helped me big time because I didn't get as burned out. And I know going into this off season, I love volleyball and I can play 6 days a week. I will be doing that for the rest of my life until I can't, and that's okay. I love it, but I know I need to force myself to take some time off for my success as a player in the season. For me to see the most success and to stay mentally strong and focused throughout the season, as long as it is, and the tournaments are going to be growing for me in my mind every single year as I continue to do more FIVBs, more NORCECAs, more AVPs. I want to have success in there, and I know if I don't give my mind a break for however long, you know, I'm trying to figure out what the optimal time is, I suppose, or the optimal regimen or routine for doing that, then I'm not going to have success. So I think that's, for me, is forcing myself to shut it down, to flip the switch, turn it off for a little bit, and know that it's okay and that there's plenty of time to get practice and reps before the season starts. I think for me, this offseason coming up after this tournament, I'm going to fly back to Florida and see my family. I haven't been home all year, so I'm really excited to just spend some quality time with the family and shut it down. And like I said, I'm going to try and take maybe 2 months to really just relax.
That's awesome.
You know, I'm excited for that. And then when I come back to volleyball, I'm going to be super hungry, and there'll be plenty of months in time before season starts. Yeah,
that's the Tim Baumgren theory. He's just like, everybody else gets like burned out. He's like, I'm never burned out because I don't play for 7 months. I get back to it. It's like all I want to do is play volley.
Yes. I mean, what about you? What's your off-season? What did it look like last year for you, and what is it going to change this year for you?
Last year, I went super heavy in the weight room, which helped a ton because then I didn't hurt. Like last year, by the end of the year, like I would like walking up the stairs, I'd be like, okay, oh God, here we go, and like my knees would be like furious every step, and so like that like sucked because like when I hurt that bad, I didn't want to practice because it took like an hour for things to stop hurting, and then afterwards I get super sore, and like my knees and joints and everything was like broken. So I'll probably do a lot more. I think I'll probably do 3 months of no jump practices. I'm not gonna like get away from volleyball.
That sounds fun.
So I'll just do like November, December and January, I probably just won't jump and do like just passing, setting, and then like hitting little sunset shots with Katie and Delaney, which has like been our thing, which has been great.
Yes.
And then I'll start lifting a lot and getting strong again.
Yeah. No, I like that.
How much does it help having April living with her, and you're like, April, what are you doing the off season? What are we doing?
She's a great, an awesome, unbelievable resource to have, because like I was talking about, like these 3 years I've learned a little bit about the off season. She's been doing it for 20 years, so she has it dialed in.
She's got the bank.
She's got it freaking dialed in up here of what it takes, what she needs to do for her. And everyone's different, of course.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, whether I'm asking her questions about volleyball or just observing her daily routine, I'm learning. Learning, okay, she's going to do this. She did a ton of hot yoga before Hawaii to kind of get ready for that heat. And I was like,
good idea.
That's so smart, April. Like, that's awesome. I'm going to definitely do that. But no, I know April's huge on lifting. She thinks it's so important, and I couldn't agree more. And she thinks like more girls need to get in the weight room to get that power, because I think April is a powerful player on the sand, like one of the most powerful players. And I think it's due to her regimen and her lifting routine, and like I've been fortunate enough to be in the USA weight room this year, and my lifts have turned into 2-hour lifts, and I love it. And it's a 40-minute warm-up, and then I lift for like an hour and 30, whatever it is, and I'm the strongest I've ever been. I'm in the best shape I've been in my life, and I think it's definitely due to that. But yeah, April's got a wealth of knowledge, just experience in these things that we learn every single season just a little bit. She's been learning a little bit for 20 seasons, or whatever it is. And so her Bible full of information is lengthy and depth and full of depth. Yeah. And so anytime I can draw from that or pick her brain, because I talk volleyball all night, she has to shut me off at times and be like, okay, we need a break.
That's why I like you. Just nerd out all day.
Super nerd. Love watching. Like I'll go watch all my friends. I get out of the qualifier, I'll go watch volleyball the rest of the tournament because I love it. But yeah, April, it's nice to have that resource. Yeah. And she's willing to share it, maybe because I don't have to compete against her, maybe also, but also whenever I can go to her practices, if, hey, we need a blocker today, can you come out? And like, yes, sign me up.
Sure can.
Come watch you play and listen to Jen Kessie give you knowledge, and Maurice or whoever else they're working with. Like, it's great. Like Fiapo, when they come to train with them, like, speak to me, Fiapo. Like, teach me. I'm a sponge. What was that? What did you say again? Okay, yeah, great. I want that. Like,
that's awesome.
Sign me up for that.
Yeah.
Because like not everyone is fortunate enough to be friends or live with April, or like be opportunities to get to go to practices like that. So taking advantage of that for sure.
Yeah. What's I don't want to hold us too much longer because we do have this tropical island to explore, getting some mopeds today, and doing some exploration. But what's like the future goals look like for you? I mean, obviously we're out here doing NORCECA, so I'd assume that some international stuff is probably in the thoughts coming up. But like, have you thought about what next year, what you want that to look like, or where you're headed?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's continuing to do more international events, get more points, get my feet wet in some more of these stops, and compete against some of these other top teams. And then in AVP, be consistently top 10. Make a Sunday maybe, get a top 5 finish would be awesome. But yeah, consistently top 10. And then just my growth as a defender and just getting more confident and knowing and learning, continuing to accelerate my learning curve. And this off season is going to be a lot of film, I think, for me, because more so than when I was blocking the first 2 years, I don't think I watched enough film. Yeah. And I think watching film is huge. Yeah. I think it's huge. I think it's awesome to see, visualize, and see what these players are doing, what you're doing, and to continue to add on to that and grow. So yeah, more national events, maybe some 2-stars, maybe sneak into a 3-star, who knows? Yeah. Because I'm continuing to get these points, and I hope that the number of tournaments I play grows every season, I think, is a good way to look at it. Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
All right, well, I'll ask you the last question. We ask all of our guests, and then we'll get our mopeds or go out to practice, whatever we want to do here. If you had to give one piece of advice to an up-and-coming beach volleyball player, what would that piece of advice be?
One piece of advice. My piece of advice would be to, before every practice, ask yourself, what are you working on today? because I think it's easy to fall into, okay, we're gonna go out there and practice, and we're gonna go play. And then when you get done, you're like, okay, like I think I did this well, I think I did this well, but like what was your focus before that practice started? And did you move the needle 1% that day in that area that you're working on? So I think practicing is awesome and getting reps is awesome, but purposeful, mindful reps and purposeful practice is even deeper. Yeah. And you get a deeper learning and rep system when you're doing that. So ask yourself every day before you go on the stand, like, what's my goal today?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And have you like ever found yourself, because I do that a lot, but then midway through practice, I'll be like, shoot, like I am sucking at this. I need to change my focus to this. So, all right, my focus is on passing. Then on the rare day that my passing's on, I'll be like, damn it, like my blocking has been shit.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I think it's accepting that the things that you're bad at it's a learning curve, and that it's like, okay, like I know I'm not great at this skill, so flipping the script almost and being like, okay, like this means I have more to grow in this area, you know, like, okay, my blocking is sucking, like, ooh, that should excite you.
Now I get to learn.
I get to learn more about that, or my diving and angle has been tragic, so ooh, okay, like that means I get to learn more. So flipping the script is a great way to help in areas like that where you're not sure or you're struggling in that scene, and be like, okay, turn it into a negative, making it into an excitement, learning, positive growth.
Yeah. I love it.
Yep.
Amigo, Kyle Friend, appreciate you coming on.
Yes.
Let's go explore Bonaire.
Let's go see this beautiful island.
Shoots.
Shoots, baby.